basically, on top of all the other criminal elements, what you're witnessing is probably the purest and most extreme form of usury being forced upon me, which now that unfortunately I'm experiencing it at the severity, it seems like I've experienced it throughout most of my life to certain degrees. It's unwanted management of someone's life, of someone's capacity to earn. And I've mentioned this before that, they've taken my whole capacity to earn. They keep replacing it with trying to replace it with something that I hate or just kill me. It's hijacking someone's life. It's unwanted management of someone's life. And they keep trying to do it by force, using every possible way of disenfranchising a person from their rights. And then, speaking on behalf of that person, altering their destination, obviously, theft of intellectual property, prevention of their own production, which is ultimately the goal, to completely incapacitate me so I cannot even produce that. So they take everything that I was able to produce that's mine, manage it for themselves the way they wish to, with the political narrative and social narrative and other narratives and other things, or simply against my self-interest. So basically, I want this to be evident. This is actually what true usury is. It looks like the definition of usury, which is written about, isn't actually correct. It's not just, renting properties and living that way. That's actually not usury at its full extent. This is usury. It's unwanted management. This is what is being done to me. Unwanted management of someone's life. The complete hijacking of someone's life, parasiting off their life. Basically, the math is pretty simple. I wasn't going to go with that story of mine. Maybe to a certain degree, I was thinking about possibly using the story simply to raise awareness about a different thing, which was my watch. But even then, my life was so destroyed, I was tentative about even doing that. But I thought just to make a bigger commercial for the watch, that maybe I'd expose myself just a tiny bit as far as who I was in that life, to generate more buzz around the watch, because I didn't want to live off that stupid fucking story, that stupid shit. But I entertained the idea. I never committed to it, and most likely I wouldn't have exposed myself. That's why I didn't attach my photo to the watch or my image or anything like that. But I had thought possibly to generate more buzz around the watch, I would do that. But being the fact I was so defaced in the United States as a child, I didn't do that, and I most likely wouldn't have. But just to be completely honest, so this is what usury is. It's unwanted management. But so with the story, which I probably wouldn't have used, but still as an option, the income I could have generated for that should be taken into account. The watch, also my health, the other things I could have done, the possible career as a physical therapist as a child, which most likely, had I had a normal family, is pretty much what I would have had done with my life. I would have just stayed in that element of physical health and recreation, as a career, I guess, if you call it that, or a lifestyle career, which clearly is something I prefer. I prefer lifestyle careers, and I think it should be noted. There's a huge difference between a career, professional career, and a lifestyle career, and I'm someone that is inflexible on the fact that I want to live a lifestyle career, something that suits me, that I enjoy. I'm not a person who can just be a professional, and this seems to bother them also. So that's what that is. That's what usury is. The watch, obviously, the income that could have been generated. I did the math on it. Profit margins for watches are very, very high. Profit margins for watches are very, very high. The percentage of Cyrillic speaking population is relatively large. You're talking about, probably 500 million people who use the Cyrillic alphabet, who know the Cyrillic alphabet. If I had gotten a small percent of that with, let's say, a $40 profit margin per watch. So if I had gotten 0.5% of 500 million with a 40%, with a $40 profit margin, clean profit margin, off every watch I had sold, you could do the math and try to figure out what income I would have generated for myself off that lifestyle profession, I guess, if you call that. And all the other things. There's other things. I'm sure people who can break that down. I was expecting more to get than 0.5% off of that Cyrillic speaking population. Because obviously there's people who like novelty items. There's people who like watches. There's watch collectors. And obviously I was expecting my watch to be much more popular. um, Particularly the way I was going to go about the whole thing with it, but I'm not going to go into detail with that. But I had a whole plan to tie it with everything. Gift shops, watch stores, novelty items, that nature. Um, Online sales. So I mean, you could do the math. $40 profit margin, which isn't really even that high for a watch. I was gonna do a couple different things. Um, and when I say gift shops, I mean like ethnic character gift shops, that exist, like tourist shops, like when you visit a city and they have, like even here in Bologna, you see the little tourist shops that have stuff that's like, um, like Italian Bologna stuff or Italian stuff. So yeah, my math there, and I honestly, and I don't want to sound like I thought, I was planning to get more than 0.5% of sales from that whole 500 million population or whatever it is. So this is it. This is usury, and what's morbid about it is they keep taking a grown man and trying to reattach him to something that he wants nothing to do with. And it's extremely morbid. It's extremely morbid. I'm sure the world is in shock that they've captured this man, this person, me, and they're trying to by force like reattach me to something rotten and disgusting that I try to get away from. And it's just horrible. It's horrible. But that's it. I had a whole plan. Like I said, the watch. I had a whole plan for it. I'm not going to go too much into detail about it, but just the basic math I had done, as far as production, profit margins, and what the market was. And I know people say, "Oh, that's not how business. You never look at, what you can get from the market. I understand that, but it's still something that's important. And I think clearly I could have done much with it, especially with the assets that are available to people in the world in the modern day, such as the internet sales, and all the different things associated. But that's pretty much it. So what you're witnessing is usury, and I want them to be held accountable, and I want laws should be made against usury because it's forceful management. This could happen to anyone tomorrow. Tomorrow you walk out and you have some type of gift, some type of talent, or something, some type of story even, and someone hijacks your whole life because they want control over it. They want to manage your life and the narrative, the direction, and everything. And I think it's an emergency. So this is an appeal to people who deal with law, and to the United Nations, obviously, and other bodies that regulate that usury is still happening. This is actually true usury. Usury is not just renting out, subletting an apartment. This is you're watching the purest, most extreme form of usury being exercised over me in my life and everything.